Fundamentals of Meditation by Lucian Green Pranayama 4 of 4. 31. I prepared to eat out of the hive, the strawberry saucepan. I did this by writing the press release for Michel André's probable comments on my pedagogy essays. First, I related it. Second, I thought of the object clearly. Third, I related it too. In this way, I prepared to eat out of the hive, the strawberry saucepan, by writing the press release for Michel André's probable comments on my pedagogy essays. 32. I prepared to go home again. I did this by writing Lucian probable comments on my pedagogy essays. First, I wrote it was spitting. Second, I used the umbrella. Third, I went home. In this way, I prepared to go home again by writing Lucian probable comments on my pedagogy essays. 33. I prepared to laugh. I did this by writing the press release for Lucian probable comments on my pedagogy essays. First, I examined Pranayama. Second, I looked up nose. Third, I moistened it. In this way, I prepared to laugh by writing the press release for Lucian probable comments on my pedagogy essays. 34. I prepared to write it was included that as well. I did this by writing Martin Nussbaum's probable comments on my pedagogy essays. First, I wrote Doug was attracted. Second, I was happy with the positivity of this. Third, I wrote that it was round table time. In this way, I prepared to write it was included that as well by writing Martin Nussbaum's probable comments on my pedagogy essays. 35. I prepared to put a hat on you. I did this by writing the press release for Martin Nussbaum's probable comments on my pedagogy essays. First, I wrote on my 50s. Second, I loved you. Third, I loved it forever. In this way, I prepared to put a hat on you by writing the press release for Martin Nussbaum's probable comments on my pedagogy essays. 36. I prepared to write a quotation mark after the word. I did this by writing Noam Chomsky's probable comments on my pedagogy blog. First, I wrote I delimited it. Second, I wrote I didn't say it too much. Third, I wrote I didn't say too much. In this way, I prepared to write a quotation mark after the word by writing Noam Chomsky's probable comments on my pedagogy blog. 37. I prepared to move away from everything, with me as good. I did this by writing the press release for Noam Chomsky's probable comments on my pedagogy blog. First, I wrote a delimiter. Second, I made up PhDs. Third, I wrote that I would have to make up PhDs if it was a review. In this way, I prepared to move away from everything, with me as good, by writing the press release for Noam Chomsky's probable comments on my pedagogy blog. 38. I prepared to go to heaven, the office. I did this by writing Richard Rorty's probable comments on my pedagogy blog. First, I wrote they were doing mixtures. Second, I wrote even though they were doing mixtures they thought it was acceptable. Third, I put it down. In this way, I prepared to go to heaven, the office, by writing Richard Rorty's probable comments on my pedagogy blog. 39. I prepared to say that it was in that case only. I did this by writing the press release for Richard Rorty's probable comments on my pedagogy blog. First, I wrote Lucian's presence was so light they wanted more of it. Second, I reviewed it instead. Third, I wrote 2 reviews. In this way, I prepared to say that it was in that case only by writing the press release for Richard Rorty's probable comments on my pedagogy blog. 40. I prepared to ask, who's that? I did this by writing Richard Dawkins' probable comments on my pedagogy blog. First, I cleared away the items in the middle. Second, I wrote it was a formalism. Third, I wrote it was him. In this way, I prepared to ask, who's that? By writing Richard Dawkins' probable comments on my pedagogy blog. 41. I prepared to write, you're making me so important. I did this by writing the press release for Richard Dawkins' probable comments on my pedagogy blog. First, I wrote this was all foisted on the person. Second, I wrote, what's the point? Third, I wrote, I don't need you instead. In this way, I prepared to write, you're making me so important by writing the press release for Richard Dawkins' probable comments on my pedagogy blog. 42. I prepared to display honesty. I did this by writing Michel André's probable comments on my pedagogy blog. First, I wrote, who's that? Second, I wrote, never mind, you. Third, I wrote that the white thing appeared. In this way, I prepared to display honesty by writing Michel André's probable comments on my pedagogy blog. Soma. 1.